You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
Oh, let me tell you something. I am so sick of Washington and all its works, and all them politicians down there, and them congressmen. I'll bet you won't find none of them congressmen signing down their electric blankets tonight. Which if they did, their secretaries would get up and go home.
We gotta do something.
Absolutely.
You know what we gotta do? Toga party.
Toga! 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 Toga!
I want you to kill every golfer on the course.
Check me if I'm wrong, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they're going to laugh me up and throw away the key.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Rick Robinson, one half of the crew for the Robinson and Wright Show, coming to you live every Friday night right here on KLRNRadio.com. I do have joined with me this evening my usual co-host, Mr. Dan Wright, who's coming back from his first victorious solo show. And sadly, because it just slipped my mind, I'm going to let you mention the name of it in a moment. And then we have a guest that we'll be bringing on, who I'll let introduce herself in just a moment. Good evening, Dan. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, except you changed your show name at some point because we were talking about one, then you went with another, and for some reason I always get the two confused. So what's the show name again? Because I'm confused.
Yeah, it's Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, and it's The Right Side.
There we go.
WRIGHT.
It's The Right Side. Yeah.
And yeah, I actually listened to myself, which I don't normally like to do, and I wasn't upset. I thought it went pretty well. I learned a lot from that first show on my own, and I think it's only going to get better from there.
As much as it sucks, listen to every show you ever do, because otherwise you're never going to be able to pick up on the things that you need to change, because no matter how many of these you get in the can, there's still going to be things you can do better. But my one suggestion is, if you ever are listening to something that you've done, don't do it around your significant other, because at one point when I began doing this, I was actually going back through and listening to one of the episodes I had just done to try to give myself feedback, pointers, things I needed to change. My wife walked into the room and was like, "What are you listening to?" And I'm like, "I'm listening to a show." And she's like, "Whoever that is sounds like Big Bird." And I'm like, "Gee, thanks, that's me." So anyway, since you can hear kind of laughing and joining in the background, we also have Flo with us this evening, who I will let introduce herself now. She is actually coming over to KLRN Radio, although after coming on with us, she may be rethinking it. She's launching her show this coming Wednesday. So good evening, Flo. How are you?
Hi. It's great to be here tonight. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's finally Friday. The week's coming to a close. I mean, I typically in one form or another work pretty much 7 days a week, so weekend, weekday really doesn't matter, but at least I don't have to go to the day job and go hide in my cubicle tomorrow, so that's always a plus. All right, so anyway, why don't we go ahead and get down to it, because I promised you at least the first full half of the show was yours. So since you are launching a show with us this coming Wednesday, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what it is that led you to decide to join our motley little crew, and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay, well, I've had a very interesting life. I was born to a World War I veteran, and that was my daddy. He was 61 years young when I was born. I always said if I was going to write a book, I'd call it The Cotton Pickin' Barber's Daughter. My mother was cotton picker, and daddy was barber. And through him I had my first experience of actually learning to appreciate our veterans. I sat on my daddy's lap and I listened to a lot of his stories. He could have been a conscientious objector. That was what his childhood faith was, and that's what his mother wanted him to do. Back in World War I days, that was no small thing to actually state that you were going to do that. So I heard a lot of his stories, and I also pretty much grew up in a lot of VA hospitals, you might say. Later, I became a nurse and had a lot of interesting places that I worked. The last place was a VA hospital. There I was injured and to the point of disability, but I really learned there how much our veterans went through during the various wars, conflicts, etc. I don't claim to know nearly as much as our veterans do, but they have a special place in my heart. And because of that, that's one of the reasons that I want to join your not motley crew. Looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to it.
Oh, so pretty interesting bit of background there. So, as far as your show, why don't you give folks I don't want you to give away too much, because I definitely want to make sure they tune in on Wednesday. But why don't you give them a little bit of a sneak peek as far as what your plans are for the show, general idea of maybe what your direction is going to be for the first show. Is it going to be a political show? Is it going to be kind of a hodgepodge kind of show? What are the plans?
It is a variety show. And I kind of look at it as how I was a veteran's nurse, as far as everything that I do on the show will in some way or another affect the way that I related to my patients. As in, politics definitely affect our veterans. So yes, politics will be part of it. And it won't be just about veterans. It will be also about humor. That's one big thing that I tried to interject with our veterans, was to give them a reason to laugh. Because when I went to the rooms, a lot of times they needed a smile on their face. And I had an experience when I was in Wisconsin where one of them had said to one of my volunteers at the time, "Why don't you ever smile? Don't you want to be here? And if you don't want to be here, why are you here?" And my veteran said, "I never forgot that." And so he always smiled from that point on. And so my show will have some humor in it as well. I might as well mention now that I traveled through all 50 states as a travel nurse at one point in time. So I hope to do a little bit on each state, give a little bit of background information. I'm also very active. Well, I am the founder of Eagle Angels, so I'll be sharing more about what that organization is all about. What else? Let me think. Well, I'm pretty much open. It depends on what people want to talk about. They can let me know what they want to talk about, and we'll go there, too.
Well, I like that idea, too.
I think that kind of covers it.
So as far as being able to drum up participation from your audience, what are some of your plans to do that? Do you plan on utilizing social media, email, both?
I have email. You can reach me at FLO, F-L-O, that is, at KLRNRadio. I'm on Twitter at present. And you can reach me at let's see, how do they set up the Twitter accounts? I'm Flobo on Twitter. So however they set it up, that's where you'll find me, Flobo. Flobow. I actually got that name when I was working before I became a nurse. I was a Time Life book customer service representative. And my boss said, okay, you've got to have a nickname. So I tried everything under the sun that I could think of. And finally, he said, well, you just haven't come up with the right one yet. So I went back and I just really racked my brain. I thought, okay. I finally came up with Flo Bow, and I put that bow on there. So that made him happy. So that's what I went by, and that's what I've always gone by. That's where you'll find me.
Well, that's awesome. So, yeah, basically, as far as Twitter goes, you just put the @ symbol in front and type FLOBOW. You should be able to pull it right up. Go ahead and give her a follow. Hang out with her. Check out the show. We do hope you guys enjoy it. That's one of the things we're trying to do is bring as many different type of voices to the station as we can. Because, not everything can be all politics all the time. We do want some variety stuff. Because Lord knows even I have to take a break from politics every so often. So I'll probably be listening quite a bit while I'm at work just so I can tune out the things that have been annoying me lately because Lord knows there's been enough of those.
Well, that's like, tonight or this week starting my show, I kind of put it out there a few weeks ago, that it wasn't going to be all politics, and I do want to interject some humor, and I want to have a lot of guests on. And so much happened this week that I basically did my first show straight politics. But, like I said, my show will not be that every week.
Well, I think part of what makes it a little bit... I actually missed the days I did one show a week, to be honest, because it was like by the time the show came around, there were so many different things to choose from that you could have like 5 minutes to sit down and put together three or four different things to talk about, and you'd fill up the whole hour. The problem with doing as many shows as I do in a week is it's hard to keep up because it's like, well, I kind of really want to talk about this with this co-host, but I just talked about it yesterday on my solo show. So, because I know I have people. The other weird dynamic is when you do multiple shows, you have people that will only tune in for that certain show, but then you have others that will tune in for all of them. So I get complaints when I talk about things too much, and then I get complaints from the ones that only listen to the one show. They're like, you never talk about this. And I'm like, that's because I always talk about it over there. You should go listen to that one. but we only listen when you're with Jen. I'm like, oh, so that's how it is. What about when I'm with Dan? Or what about when I'm by myself? They're like, well, Jen was our friend before we knew you, so we only listened to her. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's why, I want, you and I on here, we tend to typically just talk politics. So on my show, I want to do a little bit more, maybe just current events that may not be politics. And also have guests on, like I've talked to my brother who's progressive, and he's totally up for being a regular guest on my show. So I can have a little back and forth with him and just to change it up, but I may end up with the same thing as you. It's like, well, you didn't talk about this. Well, I did on the other show. Well, I didn't listen to the other show. Okay, well, let's listen to the other show.
It's kind of like, how is that my fault when I talked about the exact thing you were just complaining about, but I didn't do it on this particular show because I did it then? That's like I get, and the funny thing is the negative feedback that I get from time to time. Like I had a dude that took the time to come onto the America Off the Rails Facebook page here about 3 weeks ago and tell me that I needed to stop getting my talking points from the Chi-Coms. I'm like, huh? And well, obviously, you're not a true American because you oppose President Trump. I said, I've never, since he's been elected, told anyone that I oppose President Trump. I was opposed to his nomination. I was opposed to him winning the primary. I fought him all the way up until the day that he won, and then I fell in line and tried to support him. And now I still don't know which side he's on because depending on what day it is, I don't know if he's a conservative, a Democrat, a liberal, a Republican? I'm confused because one minute he says things that sound conservative, the next minute he says things that sound completely progressive, and I just want to know where the man stands on the issues, because from one minute to the next he doesn't seem to have a stance. And it's annoying, which is why I didn't vote for him. But it doesn't mean that I oppose him. I still don't want him to fail. I just really wish I knew what it was that he was trying to succeed at, so I knew how to help him. Because right now I don't know.
He's trying to succeed at business.
But he's not a businessman right now. That's the problem.
I never really had a problem with Trump up until this health vote. And now I'm just questioning what's going to happen with the new policy that he's bringing up because of his stance with the Medicaid issue. That kind of concerns me. It's like, for me personally, I think people that work their whole life, they are the voice of wisdom, and they deserve to be listened to and respected. We need to make sure that they at least have the basics. And it's like, from what I'm reading, he's planning on cutting out a large part of the Medicaid program. I hope I'm wrong, but I guess we'll find out. So,
I think he's trying to cut out the overreach of Medicaid, which is, Medicaid. I've seen it with my ex-wife's sister. She was in her 20s, never worked a day in her life, had 2 kids, and had better health care than I did. And then I watched this Obamacare thing come in to try to give everybody health care. Well, she already had it. Everybody already had it. The overreach was already there, and they just put in more overreach. I mean, she never paid a medical
bill, Medicaid isn't
a dime to medicine.
Medicaid isn't welfare,
and it all came from Medicaid.
The thing is, it sounds like, to me, what you're talking about could be welfare, and Medicaid isn't welfare, so I'm not real.
Well,
she was actually getting Medicaid.
Well, hang on, because I think we're confusing 2 different types of healthcare, because there's Medicare.
Yeah, I think so too.
Medicare, which is the one that's offered to American citizens over a certain age, and then there's Medicaid, which actually is welfare medicine. So it's not really the same thing.
Right.
Now, the sad thing about it is, under Obamacare, they tried to kind of make them more of the same thing, and I think that may be part of what the Trump healthcare bill is trying to undo. My thing with all of it, and this is one of the first things that gave me pause when it came to Trump, and I'm not even talking about all the weird things about him making fun of the reporter or whatever else. I'm talking about the 60 Minutes interview where he sat down on 60 Minutes and specifically told the world that he was going to say something that was very unpopular for a Republican to say, but that all Americans had to have health care coverage. And when they asked him how he was going to do for it or deal with it, he said the government was going to pay for it. Now, that was my first red flag for Trump. My other big red flag for Trump so far has been the fact that last night, just after he got his supposed victory in the House, he was sitting across from the Australian Prime Minister and talking about how much better their healthcare system is than ours, and they have socialized medicine. So that's another flag from me, because I don't... Look, you can say what you want about our healthcare system. I don't want the government having control of that much of my life, where they can basically... because, look, here's the thing with government control. It always starts with the best intentions, but it never ends up that way. It always becomes a method of control. Even if not in this generation, a future generation will face a time when the government will say, you will comply or we will do this. And that's why we always...
What's your words?
Go ahead.
What your words are reminding me of right now is when I traveled to the tundra of Alaska as a travel nurse, and it was really sad because the people that lived there at one time, they were the very, very, very proud and very able-bodied Native Americans that a lot of people would call Eskimos, I suppose. but they were very capable of taking care of themselves. They could survive in weather that those of us down here couldn't begin to survive in. They went through incredible situations, did great, up until the government came in. And once that happened, they became totally independent or totally dependent on the government. It was really a sad situation. So, they came into the hospital. They came in and showed us their goods that they had made, and they made beautiful goods. They just were great at what they did with their crafts. But it still wasn't the same as what they used to be able to do. So, yes, definitely. The generations, you could see the breakdown from the very capable generation to the one that had just started becoming involved with government health care, and government care and what all that involved. And then later, what a depressed society it was becoming. Very heavy into alcohol. The good things that they were able to do had been replaced by what they termed as the Great Death, which was alcohol. So it was sad.
No, I mean...
That's funny. It's Rick and I had a guest on, Dimitri, and Dimitri grew up in USSR Russia and grew up in Siberia. And he said that, growing up, alcohol ran everything in Siberia. Alcohol absolutely ran everything. And they were under socialized medicine. It was, he said it was horrible. Everybody's medicine when he was growing up, all of his friends, parents, everybody's medicine was vodka. That was their medicine because they couldn't get real psychological or medical care. So everybody just drank.
And
we also, and Rick and I have talked about this, 8 years ago, 7.5 years ago, I had fantastic health care. I had fantastic insurance. I now do not take some medicines that I'm supposed to take because I can't afford them. And my retirement is paying off medical bills for myself and my 4 kids. That's what Obamacare did to me.
Exactly. That's what I've heard a large part of the complaints is, and I agree with that, is that the premiums were so high, no one could afford them to begin with. So, and then on top of that, they got
my company used to pay my premiums. Now I was paying my premiums, and I have a $12,500 a year deductible. So everything for me was out of pocket.
Exactly. And if you don't have insurance, it's sad in this world. So.
But just remember, technically, by the letter of the law, you did have insurance. It doesn't matter if you had to meet a $12,500 deductible before it kicked in. All right. So on that note, we have got to take a really quick break. We're coming up on the bottom of the hour. Actually, we're slightly past the bottom of the hour at this point. This is Robinson and Wright. You're listening to us live right now on KLRNRadio.com. We will be back in just about 3 minutes. Don't go away. As soon as I remember to hit the right button.
We got to do something. Absolutely. You know what we got to do?
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine combat veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
That's right, folks. Welcome back to the Friday Night Toga Party. No, I'm just kidding. This is Robinson and Wright right here live on KLRNRadio.com. If you're just tuning in, you missed a great interview with our newest host, Miss Flo, who's going to be joining us every Wednesday. I believe, if my memory serves, I think it is 11 a.m. Eastern, because I think it was 8 Pacific, so that would make my math right. And she'll actually be kicking off this Wednesday. Had a great first half of the show with her. I am still, of course, here with Mr. Dan Wright, who's been hanging out for the entire show, as usual, on Fridays, who, again, just finished his first triumphant run as a solo show host, so congratulations, Mr. Dan. We've talked a little bit about his plans for the show. He's going to leave politics behind most of the time, have some guests, bring on his liberal brother. That's right, Dan's a closet liberal. No, I'm just playing. All right, so anyway.
That's right, guilt by association. He's my brother.
He ain't liberal, he's my brother. All right, so anyway. So where you want to go now that we're down to the last half of the show? Still lots of stuff going on in the news. Anything particular you want to talk about? Anything that's got you riled up? Anything that you feel is important?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's been a week. I mean, the budget.
Yeah, that wasn't a budget. That wasn't a budget. That was the Republicans bending over in front of the Democrats like they always do. Go ahead, just stick it in.
I mean,
be gentle, but hurry up and stick it in.
When
Okay.
that budget came out, when that budget came out, I basically just said, "It's over. It's done." You know, they make these excuses. Well, it's the first budget, and it's a temporary budget. We're going to do the real budget in September. Well, why didn't you do the real budget now? Was there not enough time?
Well,
I mean, especially when just weeks ago, the Vice President of the United States was talking about how we are on track to defund Planned Parenthood. Guess what? The new budget completely didn't change anything with the funding with Planned Parenthood.
So, just to play devil's advocate for a moment, if the Obama administration, if the Obama administration had done their job, the Trump administration wouldn't be able to present a budget until September. So, technically, this was kind of left over from the administration before. Now, I'm not trying to cut them any slack at all. I'm just saying in a normal world, if we didn't have a completely dysfunctional government, which it is now apparent that we do, in my case, it's now at the federal and the state level. I can't speak for everybody else's state, but mine's pretty much gone dysfunctional. Then the simple fact of the matter is they wouldn't even be able to do some of the things they were talking about until September anyway. And I think that may have been part of the talking points going on behind the scenes with folks. And believe me, I'm not happy about it. I think they should have stuck to their guns on a lot of things because, let's face it, the Obama administration didn't do their job. So we had a chance to go ahead and start dealing with some funding issues early, and we chose not to. We chose to do what every government pretty much always does, kick the can further down the road, promise that we're going to fix it later. And then the problem is, and this is the scary thing, because this is something that the Democrats have figured out, because they watched as every single Democrat voted for Obamacare and every single Republican basically said screw you. And they watched as for 3 election cycles, we completely started cleaning out most of the Democrats from House, Congress, and then eventually they even lost the White House. So now the Republicans are duplicating their mistake. Not a single Democrat voted for this craziness that is the AHCA, because again, as I've said more than once, they slapped a letter in the middle of it and said, "Yay, America, we fixed it." No, you didn't fix anything. You added a letter. You basically, instead of repeal and replace, which is what you told us you were going to do, you renamed and maintained. And I can't take credit for that. That actually came from Dana Lish, but I liked it, so I'm going to use it. Because it's not like she listens to the show anyway, so she can't yell at me. Yet.
Oh, she would like you for using it. She's cool that way.
Actually, I interviewed her husband. She was too busy to come onto the show, but I actually got to interview Chris, which was fun.
Chris is cool.
Chris is awesome.
It's what they basically, yes, what they did is exactly what you said. They added a letter. I mean, they made a couple little changes, and it was a compromise. And what's killing me even more is that I'm upset that they did it the way they did it, and I'm still listening to the Democrats cry and scream that it's not what they want. Because what they want is just to keep Obamacare. I'm tired of listening to these people cry and moan about every little thing. The Democrats do not give an inch. I'm tired of the Republicans giving a mile all the time, and the Democrats don't give an inch. And if they have to give an inch, they fall on the ground and cry and scream like a 3-year-old. And I'm totally sick of it, and I'm totally sick of the Republicans going, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Get up. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Here, we'll give this back to you. That's exactly what's happening. The Republicans are the parent that lets kids grow up to be Democrats. Sorry. I got that off my chest.
So, next time, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
Am I right, though?
No, you are. I mean, and honestly, if you look...
The Republicans are handing out participation trophies left and right.
Yeah, I mean, see, here's the thing that folks like you and I are having issues coming to terms with, and it's been a bitter pill to swallow. Because for the longest time, we really thought the progressives were really only in the Democratic Party. The problem is, progressives have infiltrated both parties. Progressives have infiltrated every level of our government. These are the people that are right now basically kicking and screaming on both sides. And what confuses me, and I guess the thing that I really don't understand, except for it's probably going to add to their political longevity, is the Rhino, formerly known as the Maverick John McCain, and Lindsey Crimea River Graham are both standing up denouncing this entire thing when they should be some of the ones that are the most happy with it, because they're two of the most milquetoast people we still have in Washington. But because they know which way the political winds blow, they're standing up going, no, this was a bad idea. And guess what? Their constituents are going to eat that up, because they're going to be like, guess what? My guys didn't vote for it. Your guys did. But they're still all playing the same game. This is what I've been talking about now for going on almost 10 years. We have been duped into believing that there are actual choices that matter when it comes to elections. There are no longer choices that matter when it comes to elections, because the American populace has a very short memory. We go 60-minute show to 60-minute show. That's it. If it's not all wrapped up in a nice little neat bow, by the end of the show, we lose interest in it. I've seen it happen even with TV shows, because if there's ones that are like a really long series of events tied into a single season, you're lucky if you get to watch half of it before people lose interest and they kill it because nobody's watching. Because we don't have the attention span for long, drawn-out things anymore. We want everything when we want it, and we want it right now, and we have zero attention span and zero memory. So what's going to wind up happening is the same thing that has always happened. We listened to the Republicans after the Democrats really screwed the pooch and got us really close to socialized medicine, who said, vote for us and we'll repeal it. So for 3 election cycles, we kept giving them everything that they needed to eventually get them to where they are right now. And instead of doing what they said they were going to do, they're like, this really isn't so bad after all. We should tweak this over here. We should, make sure this is gone. We should call it the American Health Care Act, because then it sounds more cool, because it's got America in it and people will like it. And we fall for it. We have become the antithesis of what our founding fathers wanted this country to be as a whole. Because we now think the government needs to be what fixes our problems on a daily basis. You hear it at the state level, you hear it at the local level, you hear it at the federal level, and all of the progressives are eating it up minute by minute, second by second, because they know that the long game that they've been playing now for almost 100 years is finally paying off, because everyone needs the government now.
Absolutely, and you touched on Graham and McCain, and Graham and McCain are going to do and say whatever they need to do and say to keep their jobs. That's what matters to them. I have a great deal of respect for John McCain and what he did and what he went through in his life. But at this point in his life, all he cares about is keeping the title Senator John McCain. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about me. He cares about which way he needs to vote and what he needs to say to keep his job. That's all he cares about. That's all Lindsey Graham cares about. That's all 85% of them care about.
And that's the scary thing, because here's what we need in this country, and I keep waiting for somebody to do it. We need someone who's going to campaign, tell us what they're going to do, stick to their guns when they get there, and do what they said they were going to do, or at least try to do what they said they were going to do, and damn the consequences. We need people that are willing to stand up and fight for us, even if it means they only get one term. Because I guarantee you, if we got enough people that were willing to stand up and fight for us and do the right thing, they wouldn't get only one term. But they listen to all these old warhorse congressmen and senators that have been there for forever, and they've built up their little fiefdoms, and, well, you need to play ball with us, or we're going to make sure that you get taken down a peg, and we may even make sure that you don't get elected again. And if you'll notice, that's what's happened to John McCain. Because I remember listening to people when I was a kid talk about John McCain and the ruckus he was causing in D.C. when he got into D.C. and the changes that he was trying to make. And the problem is, eventually, no matter what, whoever goes in there, even with the best of intentions, eventually gets chewed up and spit out by the machine that is D.C. and they become John McCain. And I respect John McCain. I respect the fact that he fought for this country. I respect the fact that he was a war hero, and a POW. I respect all of those things. I respect his service to the country. But there comes a time when you have to realize that something in your focus has shifted. You're no longer there to serve your people or your constituents. You're there to serve yourself. And that needs to change. We need to stop putting people that have nothing in their hearts but self-service, self-aggrandizement, and how can I make myself more money? Those are the people that we send to DC. We don't send the good people to DC anymore. If we sent the good people to DC, or put the best people in the presidency, Ted Cruz would be president right now. Ted Cruz should have been president. And any other year, Ted Cruz would have won it hands down. But because we let the clown car, formerly known as the Trump campaign, get onto the scene, he's now president. So now we're stuck with him. So I gotta try to pull for him. I gotta try to root for him. I gotta hope that he doesn't fail. But at the same time, I don't have to like everything that he does. This is a mess. This is not what the Republicans told us they were going to do if we gave them the House, the Senate, and the Congress. They told us they were going to fix the budget problems. They told us they were going to fix Obamacare. They haven't done either one. Trump promised to have these things done within the first 100 days, which was an asinine thing to say. Completely stupid that he said it, but he said it. And now we're over 100 days in, and they've barely accomplished anything that they said they were going to do. And I think the thing that I'm just going to say it, the thing that pissed me off the most was listening to them on the floor of the House singing na 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 hey hey goodbye when they voted down Obamacare. I swear to God, it was like listening to a bunch of fifth graders. I think I lost.
Yeah, it you know, you touched on something, you know, having people come in that want to just come in and do what they say they're going to do. And I've brought him up on the show before, and even though I've had some disagreements with him over the last year or so, somebody I have a great deal of respect for is former Congressman Joe Walsh from Illinois. When he ran for Congress, he said, "I'm running. I will serve no more than 2 terms, and I will stand in there and I will stand up for what I'm telling you I am running for Congress for." And that's exactly what he did. He did not waver. He always voted the way he said he was going to vote. And when his second term was up, he said, "I'm out. See y'all later." That's what we need. That is what we need in the House and the Senate. We need more people like Joe Walsh.
I wish we could have more people like Joe Walsh, but instead we get people that are in there for themselves instead of doing what America needs them to do. I mean, let's face it, we are literally falling apart. And I'm so tired of the chest thumping and hearing all the Republicans say, for all of you people that were opposed to Trump, not only did he get elected this time, he's going to get 4 more years. I have news for you. If he doesn't start doing some of the things that he actually said he was going to do, you guys are going to lose seats in the midterm. And that's the part that nobody's talking about. This is where we're headed right now, because people have been watching this now for over 100 days. They've been watching the craziness. They've been watching the madness. Now, I'll admit, he's getting really bad press, but that doesn't change some of this. Because the progressives in Congress are running, I mean, right now, they're the kids running with scissors, because they get to basically do whatever they want to do and nobody's stopping them. They're just like, oh, sure, you want this? Sure, here, let me open up the candy jar for you. Go ahead, stick your hand in there, reach down real big, grab as much as you can. It's all good. We've got control of it right now. It's all gravy, baby. Come on, we'll get you whatever you want. Oh, you want a fun Planned Parenthood? Oh, sure, yeah, we'll worry about that in September. Let's go ahead and get you guys all your funding. That gives you guys a few more months to kill some more babies, make some money off the baby parts, maybe sell off some embryos so people can make jewelry. Yeah, good plan, guys. Great. Really digging the vibe in D.C. right now. The American people are idiots. They keep voting for the same morons. And the problem is, even if we change teams in the midterms, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change.
No, it's not. You're right. And even whether something's going to change or not, I mean, you know, this week I've been pretty outspoken, both on my show the other night and on social media. At this point, and I don't even care if nothing's going to change. I'm so sick of these people. I want to see every single Republican running in 2018 to get primaried. I want them all to get primaried. Every last one of them. If I could make it happen, I would. I want them all to get primaried because they all just think they have a job for life and I'm sick of it. I want them all primaried. If I could organize that, I would love it. I really would. Even if it means losing the House, I don't care anymore. I don't care. It's to the point where things really need to change, and there's groups out there that are trying really hard. I mean, they really are. There's people out there, I know people personally, that are really working to try to get a third party going, not a libertarian party, a third party, a real third party, a third party that isn't just that's constitutional based.
You know, hang on. I don't mean to cut you off.
It isn't just trying to pull people from the right.
Hang on.
You know,
I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to change some language at this point. This isn't a third party. This is an actual second party because there are no two parties anymore. They are one and the same. They've become two halves of the same coin. We don't have a two-party system anymore. We have a uniparty. So we need to stop using the word third party because third party initially turns everyone off. Because there's always been two parties in this country. For some reason, I think there will pretty much always forever be two parties in this country. So we need to make people understand at this point, we're not talking about starting a third party. We're actually talking about starting a new legitimate second party because the other two parties are basically one and the same. Also, not to cut you off, but I wanted to make sure I got this in and we're about out of time. Flo had an interesting point that she put in one of the groups that I'm in with her, the guest that was just on with us, about when I was talking about we need people to stand up, and you had said that too. She says, well, what happened the last time we had somebody stand up for our country instead of just being there for themselves? Remember what happened to Kennedy? He tried to stand up, said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, and he got a bullet to the head. So, I don't know. Maybe that was enough to make people realize that they really shouldn't make too much noise when they're in D.C. Maybe that was actually the beginning of when things really started to change there. I actually hadn't thought of that point of view, so that's an interesting point.
That is very interesting. And, yeah, she, you know, we could Alex Jones this.
We could. I mean, honestly, I could take it in a complete Alex Jones direction for about the last 5 minutes if you want, because I have my own theory as to why Kennedy was actually shot. Because if you remember, there was a very little talked about article that came out right before he was assassinated, where he had told the American people that some very big things had come to his attention, and he was going to tell them what they were. And within a few days of him making that announcement, which is not very widely publicized anymore, he was assassinated. So, Alex Jones that.
Yeah. I mean, the conspiracy theories with Kennedy have always interested me. I mean, there are so many different angles on not just the assassination, but why it happened. It's always kind of interested me. So maybe I am a little Alex Jones-ish.
Well, no, you're not Alex Jones because you're actually following along with those conspiracies because they interest you. Alex Jones doesn't even believe half the crap that he spouts. He says it to make money, and there have been multiple articles published to prove that point, which is why he's kind of on the outs with a lot of folks right now, because a lot of his fans are irritated because they figured out he doesn't mean most of the things that he says. Kind of like an interesting conversation that happened between Beck and O'Reilly back when Beck was with Fox. We talked about it a few weeks ago when Beck's producer was mad because O'Reilly's producer was talking about sending a team, I believe it was into Louisiana, to look into Acorn, and they were yelling at each other in the middle of the hallway, and Beck comes around the corner like, what are you two yelling at each other about? And Beck's producer's like, O'Reilly's team's trying to steal our show, our show topic. And he's like, what do you mean steal our show topic? Well, they're going to send a team into Louisiana. And Beck's like, great, awesome. We don't have the money to do that. Everybody should get in on this. This is America's story, not just ours. And O'Reilly comes around the corner and he starts talking to Beck and he's like, you actually believe this stuff and you believe in it, don't you? And that was kind of a telling moment for me because it kind of reinforced to me a lot of the reasons why Beck eventually left both CNN and Fox was because he figured out that a lot of the folks there don't necessarily believe a lot of the things they say either. They say them for money and ratings. I've always made a promise to my fans, whether they be few, whether I have shows that are barely listened to, or whether I have shows that take off like a rocket, which I've had both. The one thing I will always do is tell you exactly what I feel and what I think. That may change, but at the time, it's going to be the most honest I can be with you. Because I'm not going to be one of those guys that tells you what you want to hear, tells you what I think is going to make ratings.
That's exactly how I am, and you know, you and I on here. I mean, this show. That's what I love about this show is it pretty much a lot of Fridays. It's me ranting and then you ranting and it goes back and forth. My show on Wednesday. I put down, you know, you obviously listened to it, you produced me, but it was the whole media thing. And it was just my thoughts on why and how and where we need to go with how the media is right now. And it's my honest thoughts. Anything I say is always going to be, honestly, the way I feel. I'm not going to let somebody else tell me what to go on the air and say. As soon as somebody tells me what to go on the air and say, I'm done. I would not do this anymore. I'll go somewhere else. And I know that wouldn't happen here, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, if I'm doing a radio show and somebody tries to say you need to go on and say this, no, I don't. I'm going to go on and say the way I feel.
No, exactly.
If you're going to tell me what to say, I'm not doing it anymore.
Well, I can honestly say that will never happen here, or at least it won't happen here for as long as I'm here. Now, we may give you ideas. You might consider talking about this topic, or hey, did you see this? But I'm never I'm never gonna come on and say, hey, you need to say this right now. We're gonna load it up. We're gonna give it to you in your little Skype window, and you're gonna read it, or else. Yeah, no, that's not how I fly. One last thought, and then it's about time for us to go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I will always take suggestions. Always take suggestions on what to talk about, but I will talk about how I feel about said subject.
So one last parting thought, then it is about time for us to get out of here. We've got the Rhino Report coming up next right here on KLRNradio.com. Again, want to give a shout out to Flo, the newest host on KLRN Radio, who was gracious enough to come on, hang out with us crazy folks for half an hour. Make sure you tune in for her on Wednesday. I actually was just reminded of something. She's got some moxie. She's actually she's only doing it one day a week, but she's doing 3 hours. She's doing 11 Eastern to 2 Eastern, so that's a big block of time. So that should be really entertaining, and I do plan on listening in as much as I can. Sadly, I have a day job, so I can't always turn them on, but I do try. One last, just to illustrate how crazy the world has gotten. I just saw this come across my Twitter feed. So there was a news story that came out about a child that was deaf. This was one person's reaction to the story, and it's this was put out by Black Marvel Girl. A deaf baby hears for the first time. Thousands of hours of patient experimentation went into this. Science is glory. So I'm not really sure I agree with the last part, but this is the take of someone who read that and then decided to interject their own 2 cents. Accurate headline, hearing parent doesn't know how to deal with deaf baby and decides their life for them without their knowledge or consent. Some people just need to, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's how crazy the world has gotten. Because, yeah, babies can make informed decisions now.
Well, if they can, then we need to do away with Planned Parenthood.
That was kind of my thought. But yeah, okay, so we're running long, but this was something else that I wanted to kind of get to, and you brought it up. So here's my argument with Planned Parenthood, and I really don't want to give them any suggestions, but this would at least help their argument hold water. Because, right now their whole thing is, babies are clumps of cells, so they're not alive. Let's not forget that if NASA found a microbe on Mars, they would start screaming that there was life on Mars. But it's a microbe. How can that be life? The simple fact of the matter is, both a clump of cells, even if you want to call it that, when we know for a fact, science has proven that a baby's really not a clump of cells for very long. Maybe the first 3-4 days, and then things start changing, moving, growing, organs start forming, and from pretty much like a week on, it almost looks like a miniature baby up until the time that it's born. But joys of 4D technology, we can now actually see exactly what the stages of development look like. Now, an argument that Planned Parenthood could possibly make is if they actually started talking about when does a baby become sentient life. Because a microbe is life, a clump of cells is life, but are they sentient? That might actually be a decent question for them to at least try to float, to try to justify what they're doing. It still wouldn't work, but at least it would make more sense than trying to say that you can kill it because it's only a clump of cells, so it's really not alive yet. When cells grow, they change, they split. That movement equals life. I'm confused by their whole concept, but that's just me.
Well, and I know we're running over, but can I interject something else here?
Sure.
There are actually studies now funded by the government, our government, our progressive government, on whether plants and vegetables have feelings. So we're going to say, if you cut into that carrot, it has feelings, but we're going to abort this quote-unquote clump of cells.
Well, the scary thing is some of the science actually supports the fact that plants and vegetables may actually have rudimentary feelings, because I've actually read through some of those studies. They're actually kind of fascinating. Trust me, it doesn't stop me from eating a carrot or a salad, but it does actually support it because...
Well, it doesn't stop me from eating a cow or a pig either.
No, and it shouldn't.
But, so, it's just a clump of cells, and it doesn't have feelings. But it's a human being.
But the carrots on my plate have feelings.
But don't cut into that green pepper, because that green pepper it's got feelings.
So, the interesting thing, and then even though station manager Ann's all in the background, feel free to go long. I missed the 2-hour versions. Yeah, I don't have the energy for a 2-hour, but we may keep going for a few more minutes only because this has kind of got me riled up a little bit. Because let this sink in for a second for the full on vegan folks out there. What happens when science proves that all of these vegetables that they've been eating all these years to try to save the feelings and emotions of animals have the same type of feelings and emotions? What are they going to eat?
Nothing. They starve and go away, and the world's a better place. Did I just say that? Oh.
Yes, actually, you did. And I think I may actually grab that and make it part of a quote for a new intro in the future. All right. Sadly, my voice is officially starting to give out. Getting better, but I can still only do about an hour before things just get really, really bad. Partly because we've been so busy at work lately, I talk nonstop. But anyway, so on that note, we are going to get out of here. Any parting thoughts on the way out the door, sir?
No. Eat your vegetables and eat your meat. It's all good for you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's nice.
Is that a fire alarm? All right, folks. Dan's got to go. He's about to burn up.
That was my smoke detector letting me know the battery is dying.
Oh, nice. I thought it was the fire alarm from out in the hall going, you better go. No parting thoughts other than that. Eat your vegetables, eat your meat, and everything will be fine. We're all good. All right, folks, have a great night. Again, I am Mr. Rick Robinson, typically live every Monday through Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern right here on KLRNRadio on America Off the Rails. Also live every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Jen and Rick Show, and every Friday on this one right here, Robinson and Wright. And, of course, my co-host can now be heard every Wednesday I did it again. So, what is it?
The right side.
Now,
and since I've actually put myself back out there on Twitter, and the handle will be changing when I figure out what I want to change it to. But at the moment, it's MAD, M-A-D, Feist, spelled wrong, F-I-E-S-T, because I couldn't get F-E-I-S-T.
Nice.
But Mad Feist on Twitter. And hopefully the account lasts for a little while. And you can talk to me on there and look at my rantings and ravings.
Or we could take side bets on how long it takes before he gets this one banned, then I could probably make a fortune. All right, and
that's it. I've got people betting on how long my account will last, and I'm up to like 3 weeks, I think, 3 or 4 weeks. That's pretty good. I'm doing well.
So, just my little last parting shot on the show name. To explain it to everyone else, the reason why I keep getting it confused is we actually started talking about this idea at CPAC, and I shot off one night while we were at dinner that he should just call his show Always Right and spell the last part of it with his name instead of R-I-G-H-T. And he went with the right side instead, which is awesome, but just to point out why I had mentioned that, you would actually be the first show on the list because it would even come in front of mine.
I don't know. I mean, and I like the name you came up with, and for some reason that rolled off of my cerebellum when asked what the show name would be.
Oh, it's a great show name. I was just giving you a hard time because the one that I came up with would have put you in the top of the stack anytime anybody was searching through shows. Now you're down there in the middle with all the those.
Yeah, I know.
But that's all right. You do a great
job. That's the way I do it. That's the way I do it. That's the way I do it. I always try to bury myself.
Yeah, in real life, on your radio show, and on Twitter, which is why you keep getting your accounts taken away. No, I'm just playing. No, I mean you do a great job of promoting your show anyway. I mean you've actually been one of the ones pushing this one the hardest because Lord knows I'm always running a million different directions because they've got 5 million things they want me to do at work, and then there's all the other stuff that I do. So it doesn't matter what you call your show; it'll probably be a really huge success.
And
I just had to give you a hard time.
And I'll put it out there right now. Listen to AOTR and listen to Jen and Rick because Jen and Rick is awesome. And I've filled in with Jen. Jen's fantastic.
Jen is awesome. She has like a really great sense of humor. She's pretty laid back. She's kind of like when I do shows with you because we don't have to do the whole oh my god we have to get together 3 hours ahead of time and map every single second of the show out, which drives me crazy because I've actually produced for people like that before. Yeah, I know you have. We won't mention it. We won't mention any names because I still work with that particular network.
No, and she's great. She's great. My former co-host on Wednesday, I loved doing that show, and she's fantastic. And I hope she's doing well over there. I really do.
All right, so now that I've said this,
I'm not being my former co-host and just saying that. I do. I really enjoyed doing the Wednesday show with no problem. With Susan Swift at Real Susan Swift on Twitter. She's awesome. Follow her. She's a great person.
She is a great lady. All right, so now that I've said it like 12 times, it's official. We are out, folks. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back with you live on Monday night. If I can do this, then I should be able to be fine and be back by Monday because I can actually breathe again. I just still have an occasional cough. Later days, folks. Take care.
We gotta do something. Absolutely. You know what we gotta do? Toga party.
Toga! 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 Toga!